Yes, please.
Okay, we are now recording.
All right, thank you very much, Kevin. Welcome to the February 5th iteration of the MicroProfile live Hangout. I need to get the applause audio. Okay, so we have a decent number of topics today. A link to the meeting notes is in the group chat, and it is everyone's responsibility, A, to jot down your attendance, and in the attendees section of the live Hangout, as well as take meeting notes, collectively take meeting notes during the meeting. Alrighty, so let us go down to the agenda and the minutes. And let's first do a MicroProfile 2.2 release update. So Kevin, you want to cover that? Oh, sorry, one last thing. If you are not speaking, please be on mute. So everyone right now, besides Kevin, put yourselves on mute. Go for it, Kevin.
Okay, so things are coming together for the MicroProfile 2.2 release. I did put out an RC1 earlier this week. I have been trying to get the information out to everybody to try and do some sniff testing on the new POM file or the updated POM file, just to make sure that we have not accidentally broken anybody, because we introduced some BOM file capabilities in this release. I haven't heard anything back. I don't know if that's good or bad. I don't know if people are testing it and everything's green, or if no one has even looked at it yet, but I would greatly appreciate it for everybody on this call to take a quick look.
Can you briefly describe the POM file update?
Yeah, so for people that are currently using the POM file dependency, you should not see any difference. If you bring in the MicroProfile, well, the current release is 2.2-RC1, and if you bring that in as you have in the past, everything should work as it was before. So that's the number one test that we want to do. The thing that was introduced by Eric, somebody, I don't remember his last name, I'm sorry, but he's introducing a BOM file type capability, and this is something that we have talked about so many times in the past, and we just haven't put it together. And his update is actually very nice. From what I've been able to experiment with, it provides a BOM capability where you can specify the dependency, but then only bring in the pieces that you are currently working with. So if you bring, instead of bringing in, let's say all of MicroProfile 2.2, and you're only interested in health check capability, then you can just bring in that dependency. And it seems to work pretty nice. The little bit of experimenting that I've been doing with it. So it's kind of a benign update, it should be. So if you're currently using the current capability, then that should continue to work. But if you want to use the BOM aspect of it, then that is a new variation. So that's what we're looking for.
How is that possible? With one dependency?
Yeah, it's by doing using dependency management. So by defining it as part of dependency management versus in addition to having it listed as a dependency, then you can bring in either aspect. It's outlined on our either on the README for the release or the README on the MicroProfile GitHub repository.
Sounds fantastic. I wonder if we can get start.microprofile.io updated to include that. To include that, what? Yeah, because it generates projects, right? So it should generate them using this new format.
Yes, I didn't hear you when you said starter. Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, from version, if we support version 2.2, yes, we can include it, because now the latest version is, of course, 2.1 that we support in the starter.
Right.
But I will note it down and we have a look at it.
That'd be great, Rudy. Thanks.
If this is, relatively benign, I mean, theoretically could go back a couple versions and release one of these for 2.0 and 2.1, or at least 2.0. I'm just putting it out there. I don't know if how much work is involved in that, but it seems like a kind of a copy paste.
Yeah.
Make a branch, push it out.
Yeah, it should be doable, and just update the third digit or something and move it forward.
That's what I was going to say. It is a little bit of work, but nothing crazy, I don't think.
But yeah, let's get feedback on this first to make sure that we didn't accidentally break people. And the review is scheduled, the Eclipse review is scheduled for tomorrow. As far as I can tell, we've got everything in place. We still have one CQ dependency, but it's sitting in the PMC court, and I think it's just a bookkeeping thing because PMC has already approved the CQ, but for some reason the CQ hasn't moved to the approved state yet. So I just pinged them again yesterday to ask them to clean that up, but I think we should be all in place for that.
Okay, I'll go ahead and move on to the next topic, although I do want to call something out that's slightly new. I am not sharing. Let me share my browser. I want to share, I think this is it right here.
John, this is Amelia. Before we go to the next topic, we have Tanya from Eclipse here.
Mm-hmm.
Parking lot from last time, it was that she will be invited to this call so she can answer the question for the group on tech talks for Jakarta and how should we decide to participate as speakers on those talks. How would we, she's here to answer the QA for that. Can we do that so the parking lot gets zero debt, given that she's here? Thank you, Tanya, for joining us.
And actually, I apologize, but still, before we go that step further, one other thing I wanted to bring up that's a process thing on the call. So if you go, at the top of the doc, I added this yesterday because we're getting these agenda items that are being added, and we have no idea who's adding them, right? So basically, from a process perspective, in the future, for those who add agenda items, and anybody can add agenda items, by the way, so I know there's been a lot of new participants on the call over the last 3 or 4 meetings, which is awesome. And if you create an agenda item, make sure you put your name up in front, maybe in brackets, which is what I did, so we know who created the items. I think that would really help us track things. So with that being said, I also noted items with no identified creator will not be covered during the live Hangout, right?
That's on my line, John. That's on my line. I love it. Yes. Okay.
So I exempt myself, but everybody else, I'm just kidding. Okay. So that's just a little process thing. Now, with that being said, let's bring up the Tech Talk discussion. Go ahead, Tanya.
I have my name there. It's always spelled A-E-B, but Tanya, you're here. You're here to answer Q&A. Thank you so much.
So with regards to, I'm not sure exactly. So here is my answer, and then you can tell me if I answer the question. So Jakarta Tech Talks is basically a gathering, a meetup that is targeting to discuss topics related to cloud Java technology. So it's wide open. It's not exclusive to any of the technologies like Jakarta EE or MicroProfile. But knowing how those two technologies are related, of course, speakers who are interested to talk about topics related to any of these are more than welcome. The way I approached community and speakers on this, I believe I sent a couple of emails to see if there is interest in it, but I also sent an email and request to the community to get in touch with me if they wanted to use Jakarta Tech Talks to talk about topics they're passionate about and related to Java Cloud. So there is really not much more than this to Jakarta Tech Talks at this point. We had only one Tech Talk, and it was related to Jakarta NoSQL. I believe it went well. The next one is scheduled for February 26th, I believe. And then we have also a couple of presenters interested. One of them is Emily Young and Marcus Krag. And I forgot, I don't have the list in front of me. But by all means, if anyone else is interested, do let me know and we'll schedule it as soon as possible. Right now, we're running those Tech Talks once a month. If there is a need to have them once a week, that would be fantastic. But, you know, the goal is to try for a while once a month and see how that goes.
So, Tanya, I have a follow-up. We have the forum. I added the link here. And I think it was Kevin that says, would you consider changing the name? Because Jakarta is very exclusive to Jakarta EE. And you talked and mentioned about Java Tech Talks. Is that negotiable for feedback given through the thread or not?
There would be no way to call it Java Tech Talks.
Yes, so Java Tech Talks is not an option for sure. Now, you know, you can definitely provide feedback. This is something that, you know, has been organized at this point. So at this point, this is organized by Eclipse Foundation for the community. And the community is as wide as open, anyone interested in cloud and Java. Now, if there is a strong desire, and I have to admit, I'm hearing for the very first time this strong desire. We did talk about, in one of the marketing meetings related to MicroProfile, if we can do MicroProfile / Jakarta EE Talks, and there was quite a bit of discussion on that. So in the meanwhile, not to have, not to hold up on this decision between MicroProfile and Jakarta EE, we decided to have Jakarta Tech Talks that is wide open for far more and far beyond Jakarta EE and MicroProfile.
Yeah, and I
agree.
Go ahead,
Tanya. I think that is sufficient. I mean, just by dropping the EE, you know, we can kind of equate Jakarta to Java, and so anything related in this space, I think, you know, that then it would be fair game.
Yeah, I would just say that from the beginning, it was always the goal to stretch the Jakarta brand beyond EE so that everything could grow. And I think having something with the name Jakarta that is intentionally bigger than Jakarta EE is the best way to ensure that kind of future.
Mm-hmm. So I want to hear from, we have a new member here, is Juan Roca. He's the leader of the South Java Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. And he joined us, and he is super open on to the giving sessions in MicroProfile. Do you?
Absolutely.
Are you here, Ruan? I see you. Are you able to give us feedback? We want feedback from those that are here in the quiet. And we have Federico, we have Martin. What do you guys think? If we are only talking 3 or 4 of us, what is the value of you know, of just the 3 or 5 of us talking? Provide us feedback. I see Lionel, I see everyone is quiet. No one is speaking aside from us.
Well, I guess first question, did you have a chance to attend the Tech Talk? Keep in mind we had only one. It's a I would almost categorize it as shy start at this point. So, but if you had the chance to attend or view the recording, you know, and if you have feedback, I would be super interested to hear about it.
Sounds wonderful. Anyone has any feedback for Tanya? I do agree that we should promote Jakarta as Java, the future of Java. So this is cool.
I mean, I've got a little bit of mixed feelings on it. I mean, I'm not gonna you know, die on this hill per se, but where, you know, the interesting thing is that, you know, if Jakarta you're looking at as a broader brand, but it's a specific project within the Eclipse Foundation, right?
No, that's not specific project. That's
sorry,
that's
it's a working group. Let me rephrase that. There's a working
not
group.
even that. Not even that. So the working group name is Jakarta EE Working Group. So really, as David was pointing out, the intention with Jakarta initially, and do correct me if I'm wrong here, is to kind of, everyone should think of almost Jakarta as Java, equivalent to Java, right? So which is much broader than Jakarta EE. And you know, Java EE has the same relationship to Java itself as we would like for Jakarta EE to have to Jakarta. So we don't know what we can anticipate to have under a Jakarta umbrella, but one of those things we know for sure right now is Jakarta EE.
Okay, so it took 2 times for me to understand it.
John, it took me 6 months, so
no,
don't worry about that.
It's a great way to funnel new blood and new ideas into the ecosystem.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not dying on the hill, because I don't have to anymore, which is wonderful. So no, I got it.
So to clarify, okay, so Tanya, thank you so much for joining, because this is an important topic. Should MicroProfile session, so should MicroProfile speakers decide to do a workshop or anything, they can reach out to the Eclipse, because Eclipse is, you know, managing these things. And it doesn't mean that Eclipse team is going to come to us, MicroProfile community, and say, because you have participated 80% of all the tasks of this year, you are by its stake part of Jakarta project now, because we don't want to be pushed, right? There is a middle line here, and we will support anything that moves Java forward. What we do not want is a hijacking, and I will be super blunt here. This is the reason why we had the discussion 2 weeks ago. That is the reason why I pulled you in.
Yeah, no. Tech talks cannot be used as an argument in that discussion. Tech talks is completely irrelevant of that discussion. I am fully aware of what you're referring to, but that discussion has place somewhere else. There are different projects. They're both projects under Eclipse Foundation. The management of those 2 projects has nothing to do with Jakarta Tech Talks.
Excellent. Can we have that in the minutes, please? Because that is exactly the question we wanted you here for, and we have it over here.
And also just to take this even further, even this conversation and the statement of it's almost irrelevant to the conversation of that is happening with regards to Jakarta EE and MicroProfile. So I would encourage everyone to think about tech talks and conversation on this particular Hangout for this particular topic as completely irrelevant of the conversation that is happening with regards to possible future of those 2 projects that sit under Eclipse.
I will prove you wrong. There is something that can go in private with MicroProfile joining the Jakarta project.
That's not what you said. That's not what she said.
No. That's exactly what I'm saying. It has nothing. So Tech Talks have nothing to do with that conversation.
Right. Yeah, they're disconnected. I would simply phrase it like this: if someone wanted to do a spring talk at the Jakarta Tech Talks, it would be welcome.
Sure.
Right. It would be welcome. It wouldn't be
Yeah.
seen as an official decision that
Right.
Spring is going to join the Jakarta EE working group.
No, in fact, we would encourage that because I strongly believe that our Jakartis need to know what's going on with Spring.
I love it.
And it would be, at best, an encouraging sign of potential collaboration in the future, right?
Yes.
You know,
Sure.
it could be read as a positive sign of maybe some slightly close.
In fact, here is what I thought, and maybe it's premature sharing, but I would encourage any other technology that is potentially sitting on top of enterprise Java to be part of these tech talks and let us know how some AIs or IoTs or other cool technologies can be related to enterprise Java and building enterprise Java applications with those topics. So it has to be, in my mind, wide open, educating people on different aspects that could be related to enterprise technologies, Java enterprise technologies.
This is excellent.
Okay, I apologize. Just in the interest of time, I'm going to cap this at another 60 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a lot of topics to cover.
I'm done.
This is my
No
job.
more questions.
I'm the guy with the hammer.
Thanks, John. That's all I had.
Tanya, thank you for joining this call and answering QA. You're amazing. Thanks.
Yes, thank you very much,
Not
Tanya.
a problem. I'll stick around. It's an interesting call. And thanks for the invite.
And I just listed the outcome, what I thought the outcome was, if there's additional outcome, because they were talking while I was typing. Somebody update the meeting minutes, please. Okay. So let's go back up to the top. I added the topic and kind of tagged Cesar with this. With the release of MicroProfile 2.2, about a week away, Kevin, from the official release date.
Well, yeah, we had decided before that if the release review goes through okay, then we would announce it next Tuesday.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So just this isn't necessarily a discussion topic to brainstorm over things we should do. I think the marketing folks have already got some things they were going to do in terms of probably both updating some existing content and maybe a release announcement or something. So, Cesar, you want to lead that discussion?
Yes, the draft has been started. It's not ready for review yet. Looking to have it done for you guys to review by this coming Thursday.
Cesar, I want to add to this. I was tasked to send the update to the forum and see if the project leads of across the 4 or 5.
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, but we don't have yet volunteers that will write technical blogs saying what is new and why it matters, the updates. So we need the technical involved and the changes to write blogs. So if you are in this call and you are part of one of the projects that are changing, that's echo.
Big echo there.
Yeah, there is echo.
Maybe you and David are too close to each other.
No, we're not. We're in different places.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the thing is that we need blogs that are technical, that explain exactly. The Cesar has been kind enough to continue writing.
The announcements are not technical, though, Amelia.
Exactly. So we need technical update to say this in this section. This is what is worthy, and send a code. Yeah. We don't want verbatim, right? We cannot do that.
I agree that it'd be nice to have more blogs, more technical blogs on the blog site. You're right.
Yeah, and we need a leader.
Besides the announcement. Yeah.
Yes, and we need a leader to say, I will reach out to those projects. And I don't believe the marketing, Cesar, or anyone that is involved in this area should lead that. It should be from the technical side. So we have Mark here. We have Philip. We have Mark. You're here. like how is your bandwidth to config? I don't know if config is part of the updates, but if it were, would you be able to delegate or write a blog, when you have something to say on it?
Currently, almost completely out of time with anything. I'm totally underwater with business day job stuff.
Mm-hmm. So
But really good.
yeah, but Mark, if it's not you, someone in the project that is involved.
Yeah, sure. Emily or I, we could write it together. So
Okay.
Thomas.
But it doesn't mean that you have to write it. The example here is we have Cesar and the marketing side has done a really good job with overall overview, but it's not enough. We get asked, what is the technicality of this? What is the code? We need to enforce that part, right? And I mean, I'm talking for everyone. Can the technical coders here write up stuff if you're involved in that, in those projects? Dedicated 500 words or something in code.
The request is what specifically?
The request is for anyone that is involved in the projects that have modifications to write technical blogs, very technical with code. That is something the marketing cannot do, and that is what is missing every single time we have a release. We're missing terrain on this, and we could do better.
You mean like a what's new in this version of metrics?
Yes. Yes. Very dedicated.
Maybe we can kind of encourage that as part of a release process, but I don't know that like requesting it at any particular period. Volunteers are volunteers and contributions are contributions. And I would love there to be lots of new features on here and there, but asking for them is usually never very effective because
exactly nothing happened since I signed the forum because everyone is so busy. And I'm saying, how can we enhance forge content that is dedicated to the announcement?
Well, one thing that is going to help with that is the starter that we're planning on. The beta is going to go out tomorrow morning.
When we do releases of MicroProfile, maybe we can make the ask to be something that's more reasonable to achieve in a couple hours or can you provide a couple bullets of what is majorly different about this version of your specification so we can include them together?
That sounds amazing, actually. Like a requirement?
Just like, just a small chunk of text that says, what is the heart of what's new here?
So each of
the announcement list usually that.
Yeah, I mean, each of the releases for the components for the release in GitHub, people have been doing a good job of identifying the changes that are going into that release. I mean, that could almost just be pulled. And I think, Cesar, you've even looked at that stuff in the past for your...
Right. Yeah, the way I've been doing the announcements is I actually go and read over basically the what's new. Every sub-project has a document that describes, what the API is about, and there's usually a section on what's new.
And Cesar, you have done a really good job on that, but I
read that and I incorporate that in the announcement in layman's terms, right? I don't want to include code in there. But then also the presentation is updated pretty much, with everything that is new, it's listed in the presentation. So I don't know if I agree with Amelia that I think it'd be great if people can actually write technical blog posts on MicroProfile that we can host on the WordPress site. But everyone's busy, right? So everyone's volunteering for this. So we can ask and hopefully people will volunteer.
We can just mention at the top of the call every time we get together, and if
there you go.
More volunteers, Anybody here listening?
Money or something.
Yeah, if you're looking for some way to contribute, simply writing a blog post is a huge contribution.
I have been pushing that since last Q4, and it works. But you need to be very careful on owning it. I always use my own name and not the MicroProfile handle, and I don't use the forum. I go private and say, "Can you do X?" when I know that someone is working, and it works. But it's a lot of work to pay attention to that, and I'm saying, maybe we need to tweet more about it or do something about it, especially for releases, something that we need to watch out. And we have the starter. This goes exactly with the starter. It is something that might help us as a topic.
Well, why don't you go schedule like a tweet every week or like every 2 weeks that just says, do you have a blog post? Tell us about it.
Yeah, every week. I think we can do that.
Guillermo just volunteered to write a blog post, for example.
There you go.
Yes,
hello.
Guillermo.
How
I
are you
want to
doing?
put your name in the minutes.
Guillermo, habla.
Okay, no, yo, en Spanish, English.
In English.
English would be helpful.
Okay, well, I could write a little, maybe something in Spanish. I don't know if enough in Spanish.
Yeah.
Or you are.
Está perfecto. Habla.
Yeah. I mean, we have
Spanish works
all over the world. Yeah.
Yeah, Spanish works.
Yeah.
And Guillermo, tell us what are you joining us from today?
Well, I'm a software developer in a financial entity, so I'm using Java Enterprise Edition. So I was looking for a new technology related with Spring Boot. So MicroProfile seems to be pretty similar. So I'm really new here. I'm telling you this because I'm really new. So and I was reading a lot of technical documents from your GitHub page, and I was maybe collaborating some way, writing maybe a little blog in Spanish, because my company is looking for maybe implement MicroProfile. So they said me look for some documentation and give and bring something. So I would like to participate in some way. I don't know.
Yeah, Guillermo,
Yes.
can you put your email in the chat so I can send you an email, and then we would add you as a contributor to the WordPress site, and then you can write a blog post.
Guillermo, you are welcome to write in Spanish because you're more comfortable, and tell us, you're new, you're from El Salvador, your country is beautiful and the people are beautiful. Please, Cesar, I will say, Guillermo, go into the tab of MicroProfile IO and blog, and all the specification on how to become a contributor and contribute to the blog over video and anything is there. You shouldn't be waiting for anyone. Thank you so much for telling us who you are and why you joined today. This is awesome. We want to kind of feedback. Muchísimas gracias por estar acá. Chévere.
Sí, también tenemos un proyecto en Tommy que estamos traduciendo 22 ejemplos en español de MicroProfile. Entonces, si quieres ayudar aquí, allá, está súper bien.
Welcome.
Okay,
What a
perfect.
show off.
Thanks.
This is what we do. We integrate. Come on.
All right.
So I'm going to request, Guillermo, the meeting minutes, the link to the meeting minutes.
Actually, yeah, let me put it in there.
If you could add your if you could add your name to the attendee list.
Yeah.
And if you can't put down your company name, this is true for everybody. Again, a lot of relatively new folks over the past few weeks. Add your name. You don't have to put down your company name if you don't feel comfortable doing it. Some companies may not, prefer that you don't. So just put down developer or something, right?
Yes.
But please add your name to the attendee list, and somebody update the minutes as well.
And that is true for everyone here. Sometimes I go in there and I add the names, but I'm not your secretary, so is everyone here. Everyone here should be adding this and helping us. We have Kevin and John as the leads to help facilitate the stuff, but it doesn't mean that they have to do the work for us, correct? So we can move to start it now. And thanks so much, Guillermo, for telling us, hey, I'm here, I am from this, I'm doing this. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Right now, share with us.
Pura vida.
Pura vida.
All right. So onto the starter. I'm going to kind of throw up a yellow flag warning on this one, in that I see that it has a process defined with all sorts of stuff in the meeting minutes. I prefer we don't discuss a process here on this call.
Right.
Yeah, the process should be discussed outside the call, and
Yes.
and maybe linked to.
Yes.
So
Just a quick comment about that. So as part of the starter, I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but the starter is going to provide, sample code for the MicroProfile specs on specific implementations, vendor implementations, open source vendor implementations. And we were thinking, okay, so how do we add an implementation to the starter? You know, how does an implementation qualify? So that's the gist of this request. We need to come up with a process so that if someone in the market or a person comes up with an implementation on MicroProfile, you know, what requirements does it need to meet before it can be added to the starter? So that's the gist of the request. So, you know, what I can do is I can start a Google thread.
Sure. Just a quick comment on that.
Yeah.
The thing generates a sample project. Wouldn't passing the sample projects one unit test be like the only thing that has, you know, the main criteria that you can actually run the sample project being generated?
Yeah, but that sample project is maybe a bit too limited to say that you are a real implementation of MicroProfile.
Well, right, but I mean, aren't we tiptoeing into the concept of we're going to officially certify implementations, and that's not at all related to start.microprofile.io. That's a completely orthogonal topic.
Right.
Yes.
The goal is not to certify anything. It's just to decide, you know, when, you know, should we go ahead and add a new implementation to the starter.
And in a broader sense, when is an implementation put on the implementations page of MicroProfile?
Right, but that's the same topic as deciding who's going to be certified. It's exactly the same topic.
I agree.
Okay, so what I'll do is I'll start a thread. I don't want to consume the whole hour talking about this, and then we can discuss it on the thread. We just need to have a way to, because we can't just add, you know, 1,000 implementations, you know, of MicroProfile.
Do we have this problem? What's the use case that prompts it?
And when, for example, should, one of the questions is, should the implementation be a released implementation and not a milestone implementation?
Okay, so this is a Tommy topic.
Things like that, yeah. Well, it's not really Tommy, but in general.
Well, this is that's the only use case so far.
Yeah, so that one, but I mean,
is it harmful to our ecosystem to have it listed?
No, the Tommy implementation is in the list of MicroProfile releases. If you go to that link right there.
Okay, sorry, moderator interruption. I'm going to cap this to 2 more minutes.
Right. Okay. So Tommy is already there. So we were thinking, well, in order, and this even came up. We were thinking about this even before Tommy was on the list. You know, we needed to decide when should we include a new implementation into the starter? And then the next question was, okay, so should it be a release version? Can it be an intermediate version? You know, so that's when we started talking about this, and that's when I included the point of discussion here in the Hangout. But we need to have some kind of requirement, whether it's, you know, whether it's the fact that if the implementation passes the TCK and is added to the MicroProfile implementation page, then if that's enough, then that's it. Then at that point, we can go ahead and add it to the starter.
And I don't see why we can't do it that way. If they've stated that they are compliant and we've never had any type of rules on that, then
right.
And that the starter sticks to just the APIs, then yeah, if they claim compliance, then why shouldn't we go ahead and
So another good point came up during that conversation was okay, so because I mentioned if you go to the page that says Eclipse MicroProfile releases, it says past CCK and it's basically honor system, right?
Yep.
So it's like, should we add another column where the vendor or the implementer can provide some kind of link or data showing the results of the past TCK? Or should we just stick with the honor system?
Well, I mean, that's a fine topic. We should probably put that on the agenda as not a start.microprofile conversation, but do we want to enforce compliance?
That's the next bullet, by the way.
Yeah. And yeah, from my perspective, that's how the conversation started with the starter. So yeah.
Sure, it's bigger than that. So we just
agree.
You know.
Okay, so I'm going to move on to the next bullet, which is I guess highlighted right now. So it looks like Emily created this topic about how do we prove that an implementation is a new implementation is past the MicroProfile TCK, right? She created this topic, but I don't think she's on.
Nope.
Right.
So has this been flushed out in the discussion forum at all?
No, I don't think it's been discussed in the Google group. No.
Yeah, I think we should take a hack at it there.
Okay.
First, I think instead of here, or have a separate one-off meeting. I suspect this could be a fairly involved topic.
Okay.
Yeah, my question is, has this been an issue?
No, it hasn't been an issue. No, but we were just discussing the topic when we were working on the starter. And maybe, I mean, the other thing is we can just put it in the parking lot until the issue comes up in the future, if it comes up in the future.
That would be my preference. I mean, we got a lot to do. We're just talking about spending time on blog posts, which would be way more important.
Right. If everybody's okay with that, then we can just, put it on the sideline, and if it ever comes up, then we can worry about that.
Yep.
At that
Plus
point.
one.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So let's just put a comment in there.
Yeah. If you could do that.
Yeah, I'll do that.
I'm gonna skip over a couple of Cesar's bullets because he's been talking an awful lot.
I'll shut up now.
No, we'll get back to you. There's one thing I wanted to make sure I brought up on this call. Again, we don't have to discuss it here, but we've been talking about this bullet, defining what is the MicroProfile platform, and I also threw in a process doc. I'm kind of mixing the definition of the platform along with the process for how to evolve it. Probably not a great idea. That's some feedback I've already gotten, and I kind of realized it when I was writing it out. But my main point here is, we probably need to define, the MicroProfile platform itself, as well as, we need to define the platform from an architecture perspective. That might get into things like cross-spec integration, stuff like that. So go ahead and take a look at it. It's a first cut, rough draft, and I started out with a bunch of bullets and then try to put some structure around it of things that we've talked about in the past and some things that kind of came to my mind as I was writing it. Another thing I'll post a little bit today, it's half written already, that has been concerning me a little bit, is it's related to this, actually. We're at 5 Java EE/Jakarta EE specs that we require as a part of the platform, right? The 5th one being common annotations. We don't really advertise it, but it's pulled in. Then we have 8 homegrown specifications. Now we've got probably 5 or 6 more in discussion. So one of the concerns that I've been having is I perceive some growing pains. I've had a couple people tell me, well, you guys aren't very micro, are you? Right? And it worries me about the perception of, that Java EE had for a long time. Well, look at, it's big, it's heavy. I want to avoid that, right? So just look to a little bit later today, I'm going to push a discussion topic to the forum that kind of covers this, right? Are we kind of hitting this point where we're reaching growing pains?
I think that micro was about microservices, not.
I agree.
Not many APIs.
But that doesn't mean I agree with that entirely. But there's still perception, right? Yeah. The other thing I'm worried about is, and again, it's tied to the MicroProfile platform definition, is if we begin requiring all these specs to be implemented, it begins to make newcomers adopting the platform more difficult, right? So again, we don't have to discuss it here, but I'm going to probably throw out a separate discussion to cover this in the forums. And some of that feedback from that discussion will float into the MicroProfile platform doc, I suspect. So, all right, so I just wanted to make sure that was covered. Let's kind of scroll back up to see where we're at here. Cesar, you wanted to talk about, let's see, well, I'll let you decide here which one of these ones you want to do.
Oh, I just pick
Next.
one? Okay. So I'll pick the easier one. So there, during a marketing call, I want to say the first one of the year, maybe, no, it was in December. There was a gentleman that proposed the idea of having a single MicroProfile booth that would be, you know, represented and funded by the community, by us at specific conferences during 2019. And the rationale was that in the past, his opinion was that if we had MicroProfile representation at separate booths, at our own booths, and that was coming across as you know, as being a fragmented community. And his rationale or idea was that if we have a single MicroProfile booth, that would you know, communicate to the world that we are a unified community and we're working together, you know, to the single goal. So that was the rationale behind having and funding a single booth, MicroProfile booth, at specific conferences during 2019. So, any thoughts about that?
I want to. Let me see, Cesar. First, thank you so much for starting the thread and the forum, and because it enables everyone to know exactly the requests, and is added to the minutes. And everyone, I added a link of that thread here. One of the replies that I get, because I do get this, we did DevNexus last year, and we had the MicroProfile booth. We brought 300 t-shirts, and it was successful because there were MicroProfile t-shirts, there were stickers, we were having sessions and all these things. What the feedback from Tommy Tribe is, we need to be strategic. Not because most conference, about 85% of the conference in the world will sponsor open source projects like MicroProfile for free. They will give us the space, and in exchange, some of them want us to shield the community with coffee sponsorships or lunch, these kind of things, right? So I don't think it is okay just to throw money at buying the booth. If we do that, my recommendation is twice a year, one in the US and one in Europe. If you go, everyone here, and read the thread, it's very detailed in there, the feedback, because we need to spend money on giving those speakers that are attending multiple events, say jogs, workshops, or globally, t-shirts and stickers. The money, should we decide to do so, my recommendation is to create champions, MicroProfile champions, when we enhance the community, not only through buying $10,000 to $20,000 for a booth that we can get for free, but actually saying to that community, hey, we are here. Hey, this is coffee sponsored by MicroProfile. This is X, right? When we think about booth, we don't scan. No partner can go and scan and use that for sales or follow-ups. So that you see, we don't fit the profile of a regular a company. We are open source, and we need to adjust it. Currently, in 2016, we had 545 jobs globally. If Tommy Tribe, if MicroProfile decides to put some funds, I recommend we do 50 to 100 in 2019 to cover those people. Send t-shirts, send stickers, write these blogs, do this and that. That is much more profitable. And then connect with those event organizers, the one MicroProfile booth, because they will. I already did the homework for Jakarta EE last summer. There are a bunch of companies, a bunch of conferences that will have us if we decide that we want to be doing a workshop and all these things. So that is doable, but not to throw the money and just say, we will buy it because we can, right? So this is my feedback, and it's in writing, and it's in that link. Questions?
Well, my couple things. First, has this been, I mean, it seems like the natural place to have this discussion is in the MicroProfile marketing group. Have you guys had this discussion?
Yeah, we did, yes. So IBM, Payara, and Red Hat are on board with this idea.
Mm-hmm.
Tommy Tribe is a -1. But I wanted to bring it up here to see if there are other
Okay.
members that would be interested in pitching into this.
How many conferences are we talking about, though?
Just a handful. I mean, we can't. I mean, we're all busy and we cannot attend every single conference. So I think I started a post where I listed some of the potential conferences that we would be targeting.
My feedback is, can we do both? Can we not only focus on conferences, but actually reach out and if we decide to do so, like we can get the space 85% secure across, but we need to be strategic on this. It's not only about being there, just marketing or sessions. We need to know who is going to speak. It needs to be strategic to cover those speakers to get 10 to 15 t-shirts for the sessions. It's just, I don't believe in just paying for something and not doing anything to shield those ones that are doing the heavy handed of flying. Do you see, not every employee gets to be covered by the company. We want, if we have a budget, I would prefer for us to be smart and say, do you want to talk?
So that's the second thing. So that's the second topic, is actually having some kind of fund that we can work, that we can all contribute money to, and maybe the Eclipse Foundation can manage. I mean, we can put it into the Eclipse Foundation,
or we can manage it ourselves. That's fine.
No, I prefer.
It would be earmarked by us.
Yeah. The thing is that the MicroProfile champions needs to come to existence, and my recommendation is, let's do it in 2019 and let's focus on the people. I do not believe that we need Eclipse to manage this, though they have their hands full on this. I'm not going to speak for Eclipse. I believe the community can do it themselves, and I believe that we should be asking those who are speaking, they have spoken before, hey, what is your feedback on this? Because we have the Latin Armada JAGs that now is connected with Europe, and they are doing virtual MicroProfile talks, and they go to 10 countries. We want that kind of feedback. If we had 100 people in one workshop, and then 10 are wearing the MicroProfile t-shirt, we ship them, that is much more efficient for being the champions. You see what I mean?
Yeah. So I added an item here. So that would be I'm looking at it like a parallel thing, right? Starting the MicroProfile Champions program.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Did you read my feedback? My feedback is very detailed on how I'm not against the booth. I'm just saying we can have most of the booths sponsored by the event organizers, because their people are amazing. We need to spend the money on, like, community parties, coffee, workshops, and say thank you by increasing the adaptability of MicroProfile.
Yeah, I'm all for, having if the booth is donated, I mean, hell, we should take advantage of that, right?
Yes.
But there are many conferences where we actually have to purchase.
Yeah, Code One will be one. Code One doesn't donate, and JavaZone doesn't donate, but we can work on this on the side on that call. But I'm just saying, -1 onto thinking to pay for those. We don't have to. We just need to be smart.
Right. If it's free, I think it's fine. But in terms of costs, hacker gardens are much better ways to get people to actually try out the technology rather than go to a booth and hear about it and leave and have it earmarked in the back of their head as,
yes,
I'll try this in the future.
Hacker gardens are free.
That's one of the reasons why there's usually like a Java EE related hacker garden at a lot of conferences that, Heather or Vancouver might organize or something like that. But if we had some program for that, sponsoring coffee and sponsoring, a little bit of signage, I think would really be effective.
Yes, this is what we want to be part of.
Something for people to actually do.
Yes.
Right?
This is what we want
sit down for a half an hour with us and try to get this stuff to run.
So I recommend everyone to check the thread that is shared and the ideas. Add your ideas in the minutes. It's all in the minutes. It's awesome. And if we can bring MicroProfile champions, help those that fly, that do not have the budget. Add abstracts of sessions that have already been done. We have Emily doing a workshop on MicroProfile and DevNexus. We are going to be in DevNexus. It's just this kind of value that increases our adaptability is what our money and our attention should be at. And
right.
Since DevNexus is coming up and we have Eclipse Foundation folks on the phone, are you guys getting a booth donated again? Tanya, are you there?
Tanya might not be in here. I do not believe so. I have seen.
She's muted.
No, MicroProfile doesn't have Eclipse doesn't have a booth this year. Last year we provided $10,000, but the booth was for free. So we have budget because we only bought 300 T-shirts plus one banner, retractable banner. So the 10,000 is still part of it is still free, and it's just on the side.
Tanya, can you hear us? You're muted. I don't know. I would like to know if the foundation has been able to secure a donated. I'll reach out to her later. She's not answering.
Yeah, it's not. But this is a really important conversation, and it should be, instead of just being talking in marketing, it should be talking in a forum. That is what Cesar, I love it reached the forum. Like, loved it.
So I apologize. We have about 2 minutes left, so I just want to give everyone a heads up on that.
So if I hear you correctly, Amelia and David, if the booth is donated, then Tommy Trade is on board to helping us plan it and staff it and et cetera. Okay, good.
Yes,
if we have somebody at the conference, right? So, but
I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah, just in terms of effectiveness of dollars, getting more people enabled to go to conferences and host hacker gardens and get their maybe a little bit of their travel covered and things like that is very, very, very effective, because every person we sponsor to go to a conference and host a hacker garden is one more person cheering for the MicroProfile community.
Yep.
Yes.
And so, if I had to pick between spending $7,000 and having a booth, or spending $7,000 to sponsor independent people to go to conferences and give MicroProfile talks and organize hackathons at that conference, I would choose the second one.
Correct.
Because it scales better. And every time we do that, it's $1 invested in one more person cheering for the MicroProfile community.
A new person.
All right.
So,
Can I just say on that note that I gave a talk at a conference here in South Africa, and the talk is available. Anybody that wants to give a talk can use the talk and contribute back. I know Martin has used the talk in a conference now recently, and he contributed a lot of stuff back, because then it's making it easier for especially first-come speakers to have a talk ready and change it as they want and contribute it back, but kind of get the talk rather than the person out. I don't know if that makes sense, but
it makes perfect sense. So that could be part of the deal, right? We will sponsor you to go to a conference, speak about MicroProfile, but you have to contribute your talk to the pool of talks that anybody who wants to go to a conference can pick from. So that's an idea that's got two ways to scale the community. One, more people are enabled to give talks. Two, our base of talks grows, and so it's a far more effective use of dollars, in my opinion. So trying to find ways to scale the community, I think, is a clever way.
And Philip,
it's not about money. It's about what is the best way to get $2 in value for every dollar you spend.
And David is correct. This is added to the minutes, and please check the minutes. Add your comments there, Philip. We have tweeted you and all the things. And one of my requests in the minutes is that we need to bring the abstracts to Git and maybe drop them in the drive. So I will create, or Cesar, we can create that document. But we're using Git. The document should be directly in the Git. So this is something so fascinating. I am very excited about MicroProfile Champions, and we can put something for everyone to see what the priorities are. We want to sponsor those to travel. We want to educate with sessions and have this be done virtually. We want to send T-shirts to jogs. And this is something that is beyond the booth, because booth 85% is free. Okay.
Yeah, I apologize here. We're 2 minutes over.
So fun.
One quick ad. If we do sponsor people to go to conferences are going to be highly more likely to give us a free boost because we're helping them with their travel costs.
Yes. Like, I will update everyone on that. And if everyone agrees with this, I can run on, give me a month and I will tell you who will, and we will highlight those events. I can run this task because I already did it for Jakarta.
Yeah. All right, let John wrap up.
All right, thanks everyone. Another great turnout. Everyone is welcome to again add topics for next week, for the next meeting, which is in 2 weeks. So see everyone in 2 weeks. Same bat time, same bat channel.
I just took a photo. I will retweet it. Kisses, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.